Grammar is important because if you can't speak or write well, you'll sound like an idiot.
My favorite grammar rule is you always need a comma between two independent clauses within a sentence because nobody ever remembers that, and so I always feel like I'm doing something when I fix it.
Grammar is important because you're always going to be writing and you're always going to be having to talk to people, and you want to make sure you sound
My
intelligent.
favorite grammar rule is the difference between it's and its. IT with apostrophe S is it is, and without it is it.
Grammar is important to me because everything we do in life is about communication, and having good grammar means that you get your point and ideas across and everybody can understand each other fully.
My favorite grammar rule is the use of active sentences instead of passive, because I think passive sentences drives me crazy. It's too long and then there's too much words in it, and active is just straight to the point and you know what the writer wants to tell you. So
Grammar and punctuation are really important. Reasons for this, for example, commas are especially important. One of the examples that we learn in class is if you say, let's eat grandma versus let's eat grandma, there's a completely different meaning. Also, having correct grammar helps you not only in your writing, but in your speaking. If you can't speak well, then people aren't going to take you seriously later in life. So you need to learn these things so that you sound smart and are smart. And
Okay, I guess my favorite style grammar rule would be the three theirs because I get those right every time. So
I think grammar is important because it helps everyone communicate effectively.
Fourth grade teacher made me feel like an idiot. I asked her, can I go to the bathroom? Of course not. It's may I go to the bathroom?
Grammar is important because then your readers actually know what you mean.
In order to write effectively, you have to write properly in order to get a point across. Has to sound right. For an example, hyphens. Use hyphens. You can use hyphens before the noun follows. After, you don't need the hyphen. For example, the long forgotten book in the attic. You use the hyphen long forgotten. When you say the book was long forgotten, you don't need the hyphen. So, boom, there you go.
Grammar is important because it's something you use every day, and as the internet and text messaging and you grow, you need to learn how to speak eloquently and professionally.
Full hint would be when to use who or him or whom, excuse me, and then if you would use whom, you would replace the word with him or her.
Grammar is important because if you use it well, then it can make you sound a lot smarter than you actually are. And if you don't use it well, then it can make you sound a lot stupider than you actually are.
my favorite rule would be not to use prepositional phrases at the end of sentences.
I think grammar is important because it's one of the most annoying things in the world when you're reading something and it says your instead of your.
My favorite grammar rule is that if it's not necessarily needed, you can put the commas in there so you understand it better.
Grammar is important because it it keeps everything professional.
Editing rule will have to be, or AP rule will have to be abs. It's all about the abs. You can abbreviate your avenues, your boulevards, and street. That's okay. So don't forget, it's all about the abs.
I have so many favorite grammar rules, it's hard to just pick out one.
My favorite grammar rule is whom, because I didn't really know anything about it coming into editing class, and now I know all about it.
One of my favorite grammar rules is to never use a hyphen after an ly word. Like, the evenly leveled road should not have a hyphen after the ly.
I think grammar is important because it helps you convey your message and communicate clearly.
My favorite rule is the difference between the there, and there, and contractions in general because I can pick it out right away, and it's kind of something that people get wrong often.
Grammar is important because it helps lead the reader through the story.
My favorite grammar rule is I before E except after.
I like when people say good instead of well because it drives me nuts and then you can correct it.
My favorite grammar rule is the three forms of there because they are very separate yet distinct meanings, and if you use them correctly, then you will be. You gotta remember you're there.
Grammar is important because if you're reading an article and you find an error, it really throws you off and makes you question the whole article.
Grammar is important because I don't like sounding like I'm some
stupid person.
I like who versus whom because I have fun rearranging my sentences to figure out which ones fit.
My favorite grammar rule is one that will save you a lot of embarrassment in life, and that is to never misspell the word misspell. There's 2 S's in misspell. Miss plus spell. There's nothing more embarrassing than complaining about someone's spelling and spelling.
Favorite rule is probably knowing that you're supposed to capitalize internet, because normally you don't think about it, but you do capitalize it because it's a proper name.
Favorite grammar rule is the difference between who and whom, because whenever I get it right with the subjective and the objective.
My favorite grammar rule is it and it is, because I like when people mess it up and then I can correct them, so it shows I'm smarter than them.
My favorite grammar rule is mostly applies to punctuation, using comma specifically, because the first statement and the second statement are completely different. Comma changes it, comma saves lives.